Well, hello, this is Papa Ron again, and with me is my son, Brandon. He's my third child out of 7. Yeah, I know, I'm crazy. I've been telling myself that for years. But Bulldog Rod is out of commission today, or he'd be here with me, so Brandon's visiting me, my son, so I want him to sit in, and he's kind of into this cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and stuff, and I've come across some news that's worthy to get out there. He hasn't read any of this stuff yet, so I said, well, sit in and just see what you think about it as we go through some of this stuff. It's on Ripple, and I know there's several of you that don't like the Ripple platform because it's dealing with the establishment and banks and it's centralized. I get all that, but for those in the crypto world that want to make some money and increase their coinage, Ripple's a pretty solid platform. I've done a couple other videos on it. You can go back and look at those. So we're not going to cover a lot of Ripple of what it is. We're going to try to make this short and sweet. I just feel this thing that, matter of fact, I had it sent to me by one of our followers on our videos. So I want to give him kind of a shout out. It's Malta Travel, I think is what he goes by. Good guy, and he brought this to my attention, and I kind of read through it, and I thought, man, there's some good points in here. Interesting. So that's kind of what we're going to cover today, just quickly. Briefly, though, about Ripple, it's not like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Of course, Ethereum is more of a platform, but they release coins as time goes on, so their coinage kind of increases. Ripple, on the other hand, doesn't have any mining. All their coins have been out. And as they do transactions cross-border, country to country, some of those ripples that are assigned to the banks get burned up. They're just kind of lost. Now, it's not a lot, but over time it does impact. It's kind of a deflationary type thing. So that's the difference between Ripple and some of the others. And of course, like I said, their platform is getting banks on a blockchain where they can send funds more quickly, more reasonably priced across borders. And they've signed up a lot of big banks. 10 of the top 50 banks have signed up with Ripple already. So they're well on their way. It's a good platform. And if you've been looking at the price the last couple of days, Ripple's been going crazy. I think last night it almost just barely touched 25 cents. And this is just like over the last couple of days.
Yeah. So
it's just been crazy. So let's move on here then. Here's the site that Malta Travel sent me, and it's a Bitcoin forum, and they kind of go over some things. So this was thrown out there May 7th. So just yesterday this became news. And I'm going to read just a couple captions out of here. I know reading sometimes is boring, but here's kind of what it says, the first thing I want to read you out of this. And like I said, it's kind of a forum. We're going to put the link to this down in the description box so you can go through. There's 3 pages on it right now. You can go through, and there's quite a bit of information in here. I think you'll learn a lot about Ripple and really what that platform is trying to do. And if all this is true, there's going to be some money made in this coin, in this coin here. So anyway, in one part it says rumors about Ripple releasing an extensive lockup agreement spanning the whole decade and more. So basically what they're saying is the Ripple right now, I think it's 37, a third of their coins are what you and I trade every day on the exchanges. And that's for us to use and exchange and so on. But Ripple retains 66% of their coinage. And that's what they're going to use with these bank exchanges back and forth. Well, if the owners of Ripple dump a bunch of that on to the exchanges and get rid of them, it's going to suppress the price. So with that much coinage, they can dictate kind of what the price is, keep it steady or increase it or so on. So that's been a concern to some of the investors. Well, what they're saying now in this is they're willing to sign a 10-year or longer agreement dictating how those coins will kind of come onto the market. So it'll kind of protect all of us from price fluctuations based on what the company wants to do. So here's what it says. This is what that means that I just said. Suddenly, all worries about supply will be defeated in one official move. Number one. Number two, the supply availability will only be the current supply. And it's like I mentioned earlier, Ripple doesn't produce any more coins. They've all been out there. Now, each Ripple coin is worth 1 million drops. That's what they call it. So those can be subdivided down to quite a lot of coinage. And the third item, overnight, this will make XRP a lot more precious, valuable, and most probably will spike up the price greatly given so many use cases and no more new supply in the horizon. Meaning that they will contain their 2/3 of coins and kind of lock them up for 10 years and let only so much go out at a time. So I could really spike the price up on this pretty good. And then there was a question that I really liked. One of the questions on this blog, matter of fact, before I get into that, there's another currency out there. It's called Stellar Lumens. And they're, since now lately, I think they've been in the top 5. I think they're right below Ripple on any of the market cap websites. Stellar Lumens is created and operated by one of the founders of Ripple. So I don't know if it's competitive, but anyway, I forgot what I was going to say about it. Have you heard of Stellar Lumens?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's kind of interesting because their market cap's growing too, and their coinage is going up. But some of the comments are always like, well, are they going to compete with Ripple? Will they overtake Ripple? And, those that are into Stellar Lumens think that. But personally, I don't think so because of all the banks that Ripple has already signed up. Their platform, I mean, if you go through this thing that I'm going to put the link on here, they're way ahead of the ball game. They've got a lot of banks signed up. They're working on a deal they're going to be able to take on Bitcoin through one of their gateways and move it smoothly from country to country through the banking system. So this link will be well worth reading. But here's that question. Do you know about SBI happening this summer? The response was by one of the curators of this blog, not much from what I've heard. From what I've heard, it's a big deal and supposed to be announced at Open for Business for existing customers August 2nd. So this agreement is supposed to be a real big deal, going to contain those Ripples, those Ripple coins for 10 years. All that starts in June, so it's coming out pretty soon. And if you read through this, you'll see there might be a real positive. My boy hasn't gotten into Ripple yet. We've been talking a lot about it. But I think if he'll sit and go through this blog, it makes sense that Ripple's going somewhere. Now, I'm not advocating that you get into it. We're not business advisors or anything like that. But it just adds some credence to what they're saying about Ripple's platform, that it is solid. And
the question I would have, though, on Ripple, you talked about Stellar and how it was created by one of the owners of Ripple coin.
Okay.
And for me, that raises questions. Well, did they make a lot of money from the Ripple coin? Is it just for a business tactic? And so they decided to open up another company. Hey, Ripple, let's keep making coins. People are buying this.
Double dipping, maybe, like doing a second company?
That's what I think.
Okay.
So that's some of the questions that comes up to me when you mention Stellar. Like if one of the co-owners created Stellar, well, are they in Ripple for the long run? Like, I haven't heard of anything of Ripple holding big corporate meetings. They signed on a lot of big banks, but do they hold monthly meetings or?
Well, they even took on just recently a big dog from, and I can't remember it now. But let's go back to your question. I can't remember the owner's name that started Stellar Lumens. And Lumens, I think, is the name of their coin. It's actually called Stellar's, the company. But that individual was involved in a big lawsuit based on some of the things you're just mentioning. No. It's because he took a lot of Ripple coin with him, and they felt there was a conflict of interest. And this can all be Googled and read about. So no, he had to. I think he had to relinquish his coins according to the courts. Again, I'm just shooting off the hip here. I've read it though; it's out there. And so no, he had to make a distinct division about where he's at and what he's holding. Yeah. So I don't think he holds any Ripple anymore at all. There's a clean break, and he's now strictly Stellar. And Stellar's got some things that Ripple doesn't. They claim they'll be a little quicker, more secure. But again, Ripple, man, they've nailed some of this stuff. You guys need to read this. So that's all I wanted to share. I think it's important. Another thing that I'm going to put a link on here for is that the first quarter XRP Market Report is out. Now you got to remember, Ripple's trying to comply with all the banking industry and all their rules and regulations, which means they're suable. They have to play the game right. There can't be any funny business, or the government banking regulations can come down on them and all that. They're different than some of these other crypto companies. So anyway, the first report, I'm going to put the link to this. This sounds real promising too, to read about the increases of all the things that's mentioned in here. Not just price, but a lot of the other things that they compare it to. So thanks for watching. This is good news, good information. Digest it and go from there. Thank you.
Thanks.